Hi, welcome to this webinar on how to improve your IELTS Writing Task 2. My name is Maria Treadaway from IELTSWriting-Task2.net. Did you know that of the 2.75 million IELTS candidates that took the test last year, the average writing band score for Task 2 was only 5.5? And yet, I bet that most of you on this webinar are aiming for 6.5, 7 or higher.
And research also shows that IELTS candidates aren't achieving their goals because of three main reasons. Firstly, they don't understand what the question is asking for, and so they don't structure their essays correctly or answer all parts of the essay question. Secondly, they can't brainstorm enough good ideas, so they don't write enough words. And finally, they can't manage their time effectively, and so they can't check their work, so grammatical and lexical accuracy suffers. Does this sound familiar to you? Well, that's why during this webinar, I promised to teach you the 3 steps of how to analyze the essay question so you can feel confident knowing that you are giving the examiner exactly what they expect to read. I'm going to show you 3 simple brainstorming techniques that will get rid of the panic and stress of not knowing what to write about, so you'll never again be at a loss for quality ideas for your essays. And finally, I'm also going to give you a simple framework for time management that if you practice using it, by the time you sit your next test, you'll know you can write within the time frame. That's my promise to you during this webinar. Now, after that, I'll be making a special offer. But regardless of if you take me up on that offer or not, you will find tremendous value from this webinar. Plus, to thank you for showing up and being committed to achieving your IELTS writing goals, I'm also going to give you a recording of this webinar and the completed notes to show my appreciation. So you don't have to worry about missing out on any of the important tips and strategies in this webinar. And as we go along, send in your comments, questions and suggestions. I'll cover those a bit later in a question and answer section after we've gone through the content and made sure you're getting everything you need. Okay, let's get started. Let's look at how to make sure you're always answering the question properly. Now, this is important because your examiner is marking you on your task response. And that's one of the 4 writing assessment criteria. To answer the question properly, you need to know how to analyze the essay question. Now, there are 3 steps to analyzing an IELTS essay question. Firstly, you need to identify the general topic that the question is about. This is important because you use the general topic in the first sentence of your introduction. Secondly, you need to identify the specific aspect. So ask yourself, what aspects of the general topic am I considering and looking at? The specific aspect makes up the content of your body paragraphs. And this will be clearer when we look at a couple of examples. And finally, you need to identify the task words. And these are important because they tell you what type of essay you need to write and how you should structure the essay in terms of the content in each paragraph. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of examples. Read this question below. In many countries, schools have severe problems with student behaviour. What do you think are the causes of this? What solutions can you suggest? Well, hopefully you recognise that the general topic is education and more specifically problems with student behaviour. Then hopefully you recognise the specific aspect as being the causes of student behaviour problems and the solutions to the same causes. And for this one, there are actually no task words. It's what we call a two-part essay. We have the causes and the effects. Let's take a look at the basic structure of this type of essay. So in your introduction, you're going to have your first sentence, which introduces the general topic. Then your second sentence, perhaps your second and third sentences, will rephrase the question, and this is where you introduce the specific aspect, in this case the causes of student behaviour and the solutions. Then your final sentence in your introduction is going to be your thesis statement. Now, a thesis statement is a way of organising the content of your essay. In this case, and telling your reader what your essay is going to be about. In this case, your thesis statement would be something like, this essay discusses the causes and solutions of bad student behaviour. Something like that. Now, in your body paragraphs, your first body paragraph will be about the causes, and you will have a clear topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph introducing the causes. Your second body paragraph will be introducing the solutions, and it's important that your solutions are to the same causes you mentioned in your first body paragraph. And then finally, in your conclusion, you're going to summarize your main points, and they are the main points from your body paragraph. Now, let's take a look at another example that's a little more complex in its essay structure. Read the question below and identify the general topic, the specific aspect, and the task words. I'll give you a minute to think about this. Currently, there is a trend towards the use of alternative forms of medicine. However, at best, these methods are ineffective, and at worst, they may be dangerous. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, let's check our ideas together. Hopefully, you identified the general topic as alternative forms of medicine. And these are things like acupuncture, herbal remedies, massage, and so on. The specific aspect is that we have to evaluate whether these are effective and or dangerous. The task words are asking us to take a position. So we must have an opinion. And this opinion needs to be expressed in our introduction. The words "to what extent" mean how much do you agree or disagree. So in our essay, we need to have more argument for either agreement or disagreement, depending on your perspective. We can't just list the advantages and disadvantages of alternative medicines. We have to take a position. Let's take a look at how to structure this type of essay, which, by the way, is an opinion essay. And these are very common in IELTS now. So again, you'll have your introduction, and in your introduction, your first sentence will again introduce the general topic, alternative forms of medicine. Then you're going to rephrase the question. This is basically your specific aspect, so an evaluation of whether alternative forms of medicine are effective and or dangerous. And finally, you're going to end your introduction with your position or your thesis. So you're going to explicitly state, clearly state, how much you agree or disagree. In your body paragraphs, you want to start your first body paragraph with a concession or the counter-argument leading into reason 1. Now let's talk about this concession and counter-argument in your first paragraph. You're going to start with 1 or 2 sentences that acknowledge the position or opinion that is opposite your own position. And this is called the counter-argument. And it shows your reader that you're a reasonable person and you have considered all aspects of the topic. However, as you can see, you want to start writing the reasons for your own essay really soon. And you should have at least 2 reasons in support of your opinion. Leading from the counter-argument into reason 1, you want to have some kind of contrasting linker, for example, however, that leads into your reason 1. And then finally, in your conclusion, concession and counter-argument. So yeah, start your body paragraph with 1 or 2 sentences that acknowledge the position or opinion that is opposite your own position. And then move on to explaining your 2 or more reasons for your opinion or position. And then finally, in your conclusion, it's really important to not only summarize your main reasons, but also to restate your position or thesis. Remember, that means your opinion, because this is an opinion essay and you need to have one. Also, when you restate your position, you should restate the position in different words from what you used in your introduction. Hey, I just noticed there were a couple of questions about counter-argument and also about task words. Thank you for those. I'll answer these questions a bit later. But please keep sending in your comments and questions as we go through the content. Let's get back to addressing our second challenge. So the next problem is brainstorming. So in order to brainstorm effectively under the pressure of time, you need to do 3 things. Firstly, you need to use the keywords in the essay question to generate ideas and vocabulary by asking yourself WH questions. For example, what, where, why, when. Then you need to decide what kind of essay you're writing from the task words. For example, is it an opinion essay? Is it a advantages and disadvantages essay, like a balanced view? Or is it a 2-part essay? And you need to use this to structure your brainstorm. And then finally, you can use the WH questions from multiple perspectives to generate more ideas. For example, you can look at the problem from an individual perspective, from a family perspective, a business perspective, a government or international perspective. I think you get the picture. Let's take a look at how we can apply these steps with the second essay question we looked at, because that's a bit trickier. So, the first step is to underline or highlight the keywords or key ideas. So here was our question, and here are the key ideas or keywords: alternative forms of medicine, ineffective, and dangerous. Okay, the second step is to identify what type of essay you are writing. Now remember, I said this type of essay was an opinion essay. So, while we're brainstorming, we need to arrive at a thesis or position. I'm going to use this specific aspect to structure my brainstorm. And remember, the specific aspect, which was to evaluate the effectiveness and potential dangers of alternative forms of medicine. So I would set my piece of paper out like this. So I would have the effectiveness, the positives and the negatives, and then I would have the dangers. And to get started on the generation of ideas, I'm going to start by asking myself, what are alternative forms of medicine? To generate some vocabulary by asking WH questions. So, alternative forms of medicine are usually Eastern traditions like acupuncture, herbal remedies, massage, tai chi, energy treatments, or health supplements. Who generally undergoes these treatments? Well, individuals. And why? What do I know about alternative medicines and how they work? Well, actually now the ideas are really starting to flow, and I can start to fill in my brainstorm grid. And at the end it would look something like this. So what do I know? Well, I know under the effectiveness, the positive aspects, that alternative forms of medicine treat the whole person, basically the emotional and the spiritual, not just the physical, and not just the symptoms. So it's addressing the root causes, unlike Western medicines. Another thing I know is that consultations are therefore longer, and patients feel listened to, which is actually clinically proven to aid recovery. And then I also know that alternative forms of medicine focus on prevention. I don't know if you've heard the phrase, a stitch in time saves 9. And this is very much unlike Western medicine, which steps in when it's too late. Now, in terms of the negative aspects of the effectiveness, there's not really that much scientific evidence in a Western sense, but of course there's lots of traditional knowledge. Now, turning to the dangers, well, there are the potential for unknown interactions between herbal treatments. However, as a counter-argument, Western drugs probably have far more side effects than most alternative medicines. So, as you're brainstorming, you've got to remember your thesis statement. And your thesis statement should become pretty clear to you as you're brainstorming. And here's mine. While there may be minimal danger with some alternative forms of medicine, in general, they provide several benefits to individuals in the effective prevention and treatment of illness. Thanks for the questions people are sending in. Remember, I'll answer these questions after we've talked about the third challenge, but please keep sending in your comments or questions as we go through the content. So, applying the 3 steps to analysing the question and then brainstorming are really important skills, and you can get better at and faster at them by practicing. But you need to practice them under time pressure so that you can manage your time on the test day. So to address the third main challenge of time management, you can use this time management framework. It's divided into 3 parts. The first part is before you're writing. First of all, you have to understand the question. And you want to take about 1 minute to do this. Then, once you've understood the question, you want to brainstorm. And your brainstorming should take around about 4 to 5 minutes. And after your brainstorm, you want to plan. and this should take about 1 minute. Now, planning, you don't have to write anything else. If we go back to our brainstorm from before, all we need to do is actually tick the ideas that we want to include in our body paragraphs and cross out the ideas that we don't. If there are any ideas that are connected to each other, we can draw arrows to indicate those relationships. Okay, moving on. The next stage is actually, so the total maximum time for actually before writing is going to be around about 7 minutes. The next stage, of course, is during writing. So, first of all, you're going to write your introduction, and you should take around about 3 to 5 minutes to do this. Then, you're going to write your body paragraphs. Now usually you'll have 2 and sometimes 3 body paragraphs, and you should take around about 7 to 9 minutes for each body paragraph. And finally, in your conclusion, just like your introduction, you should take around about 3 to 5 minutes to write your conclusion. Now the third stage, so that's a maximum of 19 minutes for the during writing section. In the third stage, it's after writing. You have to edit your writing. Now editing is reading through and checking your writing for accuracy. So the accuracy of your grammar and also the accuracy of your vocabulary. And you should allow at least 3 to 5 minutes for this. Now, if you don't have this much time left, then you should make sure you at least check the introduction. This is the first thing that your examiner is going to read, and first impressions do count. So, the total minimum time you would take to write your essay is 30 minutes. And the total maximum time is 40 minutes. So, to go over what we've covered today, you've learnt the importance of analysing the question, because not answering the question is the biggest problem and will affect your task response score, and I've given you a 3-step process to do this. First, you'll identify the general topic, then you'll identify the specific aspects of that general topic, and finally you'll identify the task words, which give you the structure of your essay. Then you've learned how to generate ideas in a brainstorm. So you're always going to have enough content, quality content, and relevant content in your essays. And finally, I've given you a clear time management plan. And if you practice using these timings, when you get to your test, you're going to feel confident that you can complete your writing in the 40 minutes you have for task 2. Okay. We've come to the end of the content, and there's been a few questions that have been sent through, and I'd like to address those questions and answers now. Now, don't worry if I don't get through all of your questions, because I'll email you later with an answer. Okay, first of all, we had a question about the task words. So what are task words? Well, task words are the third part of an IELTS essay question. They're the words that say, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Or words like, do you agree? Or what's your opinion? Now, all of those are examples of opinion essays. And an opinion essay, obviously, you need to give your opinion. So that's one type of IELTS essay. Another lot of task words are words that ask to give both sides of an argument or a perspective. So you might have words like some people believe blah blah blah, other people believe blah blah blah. Discuss both of these views and give your opinion. Okay, so the answer is clearly wanting a balanced response. And so the way that you would structure that, in your first paragraph you would have one perspective, and in your second body paragraph you would describe the other perspective, the contrasting perspective. And you may have a third body paragraph to give your own answer, your own opinion. So that's a second type of IELTS question, which asks you to give both sides of an opinion. And then there's a third type of IELTS essay question, and that is a two-part question. And we saw that actually in the first example, where we had two questions. What are the causes and what are the solutions? So that's two parts. So basically your first body paragraph is going to address the causes, and then your second body paragraph will be the solutions. Now, it may not always be causes and solutions. It could be the problem, like describe the problem and then give solutions. It could be the advantages and disadvantages. It could be comparing and contrasting. But there will always be two parts that you have to address. Okay, there's another question here. Can you go over the counter argument and concession again, please? Okay, so in an opinion essay, you have to have an opinion about the topic. But it's always really good in your first body paragraph to start with one or two sentences that actually show that you have considered the other side of the argument, that you have considered the opposite of your own opinion. And this is good because it shows you that you are a reasonable person, that you're thinking about all aspects of a problem. And when you give the opposite side, like opposite to your opinion, this is called the counter argument. Now, a concession is something within the counter argument that you do. Perhaps there's one aspect of the counter argument that's actually really powerful, and you want to acknowledge that, yes, I agree in part with this. You have a point. But then you also want to lead into your own reasons for why you support your opinion very quickly. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you can write me an email. Okay, another question. What if I don't know what some of the words in the question mean? How can I answer the question? Okay, yeah. Well, basically, there's no easy answer to this. Really, you have to develop your topic vocabulary. You should know by now that there are common IELTS topics like, science and technology, the environment, education, social issues, topics like that. And so you really have to be reading articles around those topics to build up your topic vocabulary, so that when you're reading questions, you can identify the general topic and activate all of the vocabulary that you already know about that topic, and also the issues, and that will hopefully help you to answer the question. But obviously, if you don't know lots of the nouns or the reference words, it's very hard to answer the question if you don't have the vocabulary. So that should be a priority in your study, is vocabulary development. Okay, here's another question. What if I don't have time to answer all parts of the question? Okay, well, we've kind of covered this. You need to manage your time, and you need to practice using the timing guide that I gave you. So basically, before you start writing, take that 7 minutes to understand the question, to brainstorm ideas and to plan. And then during the writing, you don't want to spend too long on your introduction, a maximum of 5 minutes. You really want to spend the time on your body paragraphs, 7 to 9 minutes for each of your body paragraphs. And then for your conclusion, 3 to 5 minutes again. And you always want to answer all parts of the question because, as I said before, this is going to affect the score that you receive in task response. I don't know if you're familiar with the writing criteria, but basically in band score 5, there's a cut-off point. If you don't address all parts of the question, you can't get more than 5, band score 5, in the task response for this criteria. Hope that's clear. Here's another question. What if the examiner doesn't like my opinion? Okay, so the examiner isn't judging you on your opinion. They're judging you on the 4 key areas. And those key areas for task 2 are task response. So that means how well do you answer the question? Do you address all parts of it and develop your answers? The second criteria is cohesion and coherence. And that basically means, do you write a well-structured essay? Is it easy to understand, like it makes sense? And does it have good connections between the ideas? That's the second one. The third criteria is lexical range and accuracy. Lexical means vocabulary. So that means, are you using a good variety of words and are you using them accurately? And then the final criteria is grammatical range and accuracy, and that's the same thing. Do you use a good range of grammatical structures and are you using those accurately as well? So yeah, don't worry about your opinion. They're not judging you on your opinion, they're judging you on those 4 criteria. Here is another question. Will I get a lower mark if I don't write 250 words? Yeah, basically yes. If you're more than 10 words short, you could lose half a band score. But you don't get penalized for writing more than 250 words. Okay, so, but if you write more, then you also have more chances of errors. So you need to make sure you have time to check your writing. But most candidates really should aim for about 270 to maybe 300 words if you're looking for that 7.5 band score. But it's probably better to concentrate on quality rather than quantity. Another question, can I write in pencil? Yes, you can use a pencil or a pen. So I would just recommend do whichever you feel more comfortable with. Another question, does my brainstorm get marked? No, your brainstorm plan don't get marked. Another question, I've got messy writing, is this okay? Well, it depends, really. If it's hard to read, you can't actually read it, you will be penalized. But if it's messy but you can still read it and recognize the words, then that's fine. I have pretty messy writing, but I think it's still people are able to read it. Okay, can I write in capital letters? Yes, this is okay. But you need to be careful about the full stops, your punctuation. Otherwise, the examiner might think that you are starting a new sentence when you're not. So just watch your punctuation if you are a person who writes in capital letters. Personally, I think it's better actually to write in lowercase with capitals after full stops. Okay, I've got really different results for my writing. Why? This is a person that's done IELTS more than once. Well, basically, most commonly, it's usually because you haven't answered all parts of the essay question. And as I said before, this is going to reduce your score in task response. You won't be able to get over a 5. So this is the most common reason for the different results in writing. Another question, how is the writing judged? Well, I told you before the 4 assessment criterias. But actually, yeah, task 2 is worth twice as more points as task 1. Interesting. So basically, if you've got a problem with time management, I would always start with task 2 first, because that's going to give you the most points. Okay, last question. So this person has asked, is it okay to invent statistics? No, don't do this. You know, it's much better to think of a specific example, you know, from your experience or from your country, than invent statistics. By that, I mean like 56% of Chinese people eat Chinese sushi. You know, you're not going to be able to do this in your future university study or even in your job. You know, you have to have things real. So I would not get into the habit of doing it in IELTS either. I don't think that's a good idea at all. I think we've come to the next part. So as I promised, I have a special offer for you. If you received all you need from this webinar, you're free to go. But for those that are interested, let me tell you what I have for you. I know that you want IELTS success, or you wouldn't be here. Maybe you want to get into university, or maybe you want to immigrate. Whatever your goals, I can help you achieve those. I also know how frustrating it can be for people to take the IELTS test time after time, get their writing results, only to be completely disappointed with the results, but just not know how to improve on them. In fact, my students consistently tell me that writing is their biggest challenge in IELTS. And for many of you, your IELTS band score is what's holding you back from achieving your dreams, whether that's entering university or immigrating to a new country to start a new life. And that's why I've written an online course that develops your IELTS writing Task 2 skills step by step. Now, I want to emphasize though that this course does not cover Task 1 or reading, listening and speaking skills. It's also going to be of most benefit for those of you who have an IELTS 5.5 or higher. So let's take a look at some of the writing skills you'll learn and how this is going to help you achieve your IELTS writing goals more quickly than you ever imagined. The course is divided into 2 modules, a general writing skills module, and in here you'll discover in detail the 4 key assessment criteria so you can know exactly what your examiners are looking for in your writing and how to give it to them. You'll learn the 4 steps you need to take every time you write an essay. And this means you can feel confident knowing that you're including the content your IELTS examiner is expecting to read in the 40 minutes you have to write. You'll rapidly improve your vocabulary and writing accuracy in this process. You'll also discover how to recognize and structure the 3 different types of IELTS essay questions. And this means you'll always have a logically organized English-style essay. Now, once you feel confident with these core writing skills, you can move on to put these new skills into practice in 10 individual writing lessons. Each lesson covers all of the different types of IELTS essay questions and all with different topics.
And this means you develop and grow your vocabulary while practicing all your writing skills alongside me as we work together to write a Task 2 essay. At each stage of the writing process, you can compare your ideas and progress with my model answers. In each of the 10 lessons, you'll have a workbook to follow as you firstly analyse the essay question, then brainstorm for ideas, then plan and structure your essay, and then finally write your essay. After you've done this, you get to compare what you've written with my model essay. Then you get to watch as I analyse in depth my model essay. I explain all of my choices so you can get into the mind and writing skill of an expert IELTS writer. Don't waste time wondering what to write, just simply listen, watch and learn. In each lesson's workbook there's also a list of the academic vocabulary and collocations used in the model essay. So feel free to steal my phrases and ideas and use them in your own essays. As an added bonus, while you're watching these videos, you can practice your listening skills and learn new vocabulary. All of the videos are transcribed, so you don't need to worry about missing out on any important information. Just download the script and follow along. And if you do have any questions along the way, feel free to hit the support button and ask. The course is available 24/7 anytime you're ready to study. So why should you believe me? Well, I'm a qualified English language teacher with both the certificate and diploma in English language teaching for adults. I also hold a Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics with first-class honours from the University of Auckland, New Zealand. I've been teaching IELTS for over 16 years, helping hundreds of students to achieve their goals for both the general and academic modules, and that's why I know I can help you to achieve IELTS writing success too. Now, thanks to the internet, I can give you all of the writing skills and knowledge you need to hit your target band score, all in the comfort and convenience of your own home and at a price that you can afford. Just imagine the next time you open your IELTS results and see the writing band score you were aiming for, knowing that all your plans could now be achieved. How would that feel? Pretty fantastic, I bet. Normally, my course retails for $77, but because you've come on this webinar today, you've shown me you're a person who's willing to take action to achieve your goals. I want to reward you for your time and dedication to your future by making my course available to you today for only $47. That's a massive 40% discount. You'll get instant and lifelong access. This course is available 24/7 anytime you're ready to study. And if you're worried you won't get your money's worth, I'm so absolutely sure that my course, Power Up to IELTS Writing 7.5, will help improve your Task 2 writing that I'm offering an unconditional, no questions asked 60-day money-back guarantee. So this means if for whatever reason Power Up to IELTS Writing 7.5 does not satisfy you in any way, simply send me an email within 60 days from your purchase and I'll refund you right away. So if for any reason you're not happy, you can get your money back within 60 days. Give it a try. You have nothing to lose. Everything you need is all here in this course right now. Click on the Buy Now button and unlock the door to your future by achieving the IELTS writing score you need. Remember, this offer is only available today, right now. You've shown me you're committed to your success. So why not speed up the process and take all the guesswork out of your writing improvement? Your time is precious, so don't waste it searching all over the internet for free materials, when everything you need to know is all here in this course right now. Don't miss out. Click on the Buy Now button to turbo boost your writing improvement. And if you decide not to click, I invite you to ask yourself, what is your future worth? Today, I'm offering you a complete course with 10 individual lessons for only $47. That's $4.70 per lesson. Are your future study, immigration or job prospects worth $4.70 to get the confidence of knowing how to achieve the score you need? So, click the Buy Now button. Remember, you can always get all your money back in 60 days if you're unhappy with your progress. Thank you so much for attending. I sincerely appreciate you investing your time and energy into this webinar. It shows how special you are and how committed you are to achieving your IELTS goals. And that's fantastic, because there are not many people who do what it takes to achieve. Obviously, you're one of those. Thanks so much for attending. Remember, tomorrow I'm going to send you out your bonuses. That's the completed notes and the recording of this webinar, and also the questions that I didn't get to. I look forward to hearing of your success and seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.